Like a lot of people, I was part of a small clique of friends during my high school and college years. Similar backgrounds, experiences, and interests made for easy camaraderie. Over the years, careers and families replaced partying and hanging out as priorities, but my group is kept in touch, and we make it a point to get together a few times a year. This year, many of us turned 40, and we chose England as the backdrop to celebrate one birthday in particular. My friend Joe is the glue that holds us together. He's our den mother, and I mean that in the most complimentary way you can call another grown man that. He's gregarious and thoughtful, boisterous and intense, but all heart. It was his idea to come to England, and it's absolutely no surprise he got 24 of us to travel with him all the way to Europe. On the day of the celebration, my wife and I took the train from Paris into London. We were all scheduled to spend the day in Cambridge, and we got in a little later, and just about the entire group had already left, except for Joe. He waited for us so we wouldn't have to make the trek by ourselves. That's just the kind of guy he is.
My oldest memory of Joe, I was riding my bike around the block. I think I was about 6 or 7 years old. At the time, he was playing outside. He approached my bike and threw me off of it. And that's when I knew we'd be friends.
I was in 11th grade, and I was already on the varsity tennis team. All of a sudden, I see a little kid that must not be taller than the net, hitting the ball as hard as I've ever hit the ball, and being as loud as I've ever heard somebody.
All I remember him was, I guess, being in Pinewood Acres. We were, 8 years old. The guy was under anesthesia, came to school, and he was by far the most hyperactive kid in the class. And then there's a lot of memories there that I really can't disclose on camera.
One thing that he does have about him is his passion. And at 8 years old, that passion was probably more vibrant than it is today. Hard to imagine.
Fondest and oldest memory of Joe, that is really tough, because we go back to kindergarten, and back in the day, Joe was always, one of the loudest, one of the boldest of all of us.
He's genuine, and he doesn't mince words. He says exactly how he feels, and I appreciate that. And happy birthday, Joe. Welcome to the 4th floor.
There's nothing I can say on this video that I probably haven't already said over the last year and a half. Dude, I'm just happy to be here to celebrate with you. Wishing you a healthy, happy, many, many, many more birthdays, dude. We're gonna rock them all. All right, I love you, man.
I don't call many people my brother, man, but you're my brother, and I wish you all the best. Happy 40th.
That's Joe's friend Jasper. He actually gave us a walking tour of the colleges of Cambridge that day that ended with a few pints of beer at the famous Eagle pub. A few hours later, Jasper had set up an amazing dinner party at his alma mater in Joe's honor. And in between courses of delicious food, the guests all got up, one by one, to say a few things about Joe. Sometime before dessert, it was my turn.
I recall when I first met Joe, Albert and I went to high school, Pablo, and all three of us were in the same year. Carl, being Albert's younger brother, and your friend, meant that you spent a lot of time in the DeSoto household. And I recall, amongst the many pickup basketball games and the many Thanksgiving dinners in those very early years, thinking, God damn, this is annoying. Because, and wait, I'm getting to the point here. But the reason I thought he was so annoying in those very early moments was because Joe had a way of weaseling his way into your life, okay? He would figure out a commonality that you had with him. And he would figure out a way to keep hitting that note, you know? Keep hitting that note until you couldn't deny that the man was worth being friends with. So, I'm getting a little emotional. You've been a great friend, man. You have always striven to bring us together. And, 20 years later, here we are. And I don't think, it's a testament, really, to the quality of a human being that you are. And don't let it go to your head. To the weasel. Cheers.
It's overwhelming. This whole thing started out a year ago. I said, I love parties. I love parties. I love big parties. And my wife said, your favorite city in the world is London. Why don't you go and celebrate your 40th in London? Never in my wildest imagination did I think that the big party was going to follow me here. I love all of my friends so much. But it's one thing for me to know what I feel for all of you. It's another thing for you all to fly 4,400 miles, a little bit more maybe, to say the same thing to me. So thank you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy
Every friend at some point in their lives asks themselves, which friend would I call if I had a dead hooker in the back of my trunk? And I can tell you that Joe is that type of friend. He knows what shovel, where to bury, the lime, a blanket, and how deep to dig the body. Invaluable.